Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now, one of the venues that I work at only has VGA connections, and my laptop only puts out HDMI. Well, that's fine, that's not so much of a deal if you get something like this. Essentially, this is a connector with HDMI on one end and a VGA port on the other, which allows you to, plug this end into your laptop and you get a VGA output. So that's cool. But then it got me thinking. HDMI is a digital signal, and VGA is an analog signal, right? So you can't just directly connect wires across and have things work. There needs to be some smarts in here, some logic that captures the HDMI signal, understands it for what it is, right, which is a bunch of pixels, and then re-express it as an analog signal. So there needs to be some logic in that, and that's pretty cool for a device that, purely just takes power from the HDMI ports and is able to do all that. But then that led me down another different rabbit hole, which is that, HDMI comes with this pesky thing called HDCP. That stands for High Bandwidth Digital Contents Protection, and essentially is a kind of DRM, it's a kind of copy protection scheme. Now, HDCP has been a thorn in many people's sides for many years now because there are all these weird issues, like, you connect something to something, the HDCP doesn't work quite right, and you just can't use the display at all. You gotta throw it out and get a new one, which sucks. But the thing is this, right? HDCP is a part of HDMI, right? HDMI is a digital signal, so you can carry this, content encryption as part of the digital thing. But VGA isn't. VGA is an analog signal. There's no notion of carrying, much digital content on that. So what gives? How do these two things sort of reconcile with each other? I'll give you a quick summary of how HDCP works. Essentially, when you connect two devices, they have a handshaking step. There is an exchange of encryption keys, which then allows, the two devices to communicate. Essentially, the source, which is say your computer or your PS4 or whatever, will actually encrypt, the video according to that key. It will send it over for your device to actually decrypt. But here's the messed up part, right? These keys, as well as basically the entire algorithm behind this, was created by Intel. You've got to pay them to get the keys, of course you do, and you have to follow their rules. So their rules involve things like having to keep the keys secret, and they even have policies on key revocation. Now if you think about it, that's pretty scary as well. Essentially, you have to roll out things like DVDs and Blu-rays that have revocation instructions on them. When you pop them into a Blu-ray player, it essentially updates, what keys are valid and what keys are not. And basically, newer discs will have more up-to-date information. So, yeah, that's kind of creepy if you think about it. But coming back to this little guy, what is its role in this? I paid very little for this. I think it was like $10 or so. Does this have the ability to strip out HDCP? Remember, we can't carry HDCP over the VGA aspect. So either this has some key that basically tells the device that this is legit, and it basically re-emits an analog signal that doesn't have HDCP on it, which essentially allows us to work around copy protection. Now, Intel sure as hell wouldn't allow this to happen. So what then? Have these guys actually paid for a legit, key, and then instantly do something that goes against Intel's policies by allowing you to, rip it off via analog? Or have they compromised keys somehow? Have they stolen keys from somewhere and, built it in without much care? Or does this completely not do HDCP at all? That means if I try to play HDCP content, everything will break. Who knows? That is the mystery that I haven't managed to solve just yet, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you want to sort of pursue this further, pop open the description. We have some further reading there, including a blog post of a person talking about how insecure this entire thing is. Of course, it's an old blog post, over a decade old, so I'm not sure if HDCP has been updated since then. It probably has. And yeah, some of the commenters were also talking about how you can just buy HDCP keys online. and that workarounds are already plentiful. But who knows what newer versions of HDCP are doing to address these issues. But yeah, it's amazing how many considerations go into just a simple device like this. For once, I don't actually have an answer for you at the end of Friday Minis, but hopefully some food for thought, some things you can ponder. That's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.